of this episode. I've said it for years throughout toward, and not so much in Rebels. I could have said it then, but I didn't have to. But said it a lot during Resistance when we were covering that on our previous show. Is they squeeze so much into these short episodes, and they can get so deep and so personal in a 20-minute episode that it leaves you basically questioning everything. It makes an impact on you. And this did for me. Is he's sitting there and he's just like old times. It immediately took me to the episode The Last Battle of Star Wars Rebels. And Kanan Jarrus is talking to Ezra Bridger. And if you have not watched Rebels, you need to watch it. This is in my top 5 episodes of the show. The Last Battle is. And it's a Clone Wars nod at that point. And you hear in that episode, they find a crashed separatist ship. In a nutshell, find a crashed separatist ship. I can't talk. Separatist ship. And they go, Kanan, Ezra, Zeb, and Rex go there to try to get some weapons and some supplies from this downed droid ship. And it ends up not being abandoned. There wound up being a full complement of B-1 battle droids, some B-2s, and a super tactical droid in command of it. And we end up having a war game between them and the droids to determine who won the Clone Wars. So, and it's very interesting because Rex is having a very hard time. He has some flashbacks. He thinks he's talking to Cody at some point, and it's really a rough episode for if you get into the deepness of it, not just the nod part, the tribute part to it, but it's got some very deep issues in it embedded in the episode. And Kanan is talking to Ezra because Ezra doesn't understand what's wrong with Rex. And Kanan looks at it, Ezra, and is like, wars leave scars. Some you can't see. And what got me in this episode was that final scene. Rex turns and walks away, and Echo just stands there. And for the first time, we've seen him acting normally ever since the wires were disconnected. We see him acting pretty much normally, making jokes and strategizing and everything. But this is the first time I think you can actually sit there and get a glimpse of the scars that he has that nobody else can see. The mental issues that are going to be there from being captive and tortured and disfigured. And he lost his humanity and became a machine, for crying out loud. He probably is going to have to deal with some of the same psychological issues that Captain Picard did when the Borg kidnapped him in The Next Generation. So it's there was just my Star Trek reference. So it's very deep, and I want to get your thoughts on this, David, because I know you've got some experience in dealing with some of this. He's going to have there's no way he can walk away from this without some kind of PTSD, and I think we just saw a slight glimpse in without him saying a word, just in the look. He does say a word. He does say, "Yeah, hopefully." And then he just kind of stands there, and then eventually walks away. But what are your thoughts on Echo and his true condition after the events he's been through?
Yeah, first, like with the fortune cookies, survival is one step on the path to living. As he gets disconnected and he does help them to escape, he is in survival mode. And and like we were just saying a few minutes ago, it'll be interesting to see how he does act here and behave in the next episode, Unfinished Business. But just a little bit of insight for some of the listeners. We can help them become good psychologists, like my professors always said. Make your clients good psychologists. PTSD is, this very, unfortunately, very common psychological issue that people face, not only from war, but if you've been raped or if you have a couple things. One, we talk about, have you seen someone almost killed? Or has your own life, have you almost lost it? Either one of those things, not even related to war, it could be in a car accident, you can have PTSD. So, one of the things that we were, like I said, talking about earlier with Dan on Coffee with Kenobi was, symptoms like intrusive thoughts. It's a big part of PTSD that my clients are sick of the intrusive thoughts related to the event, or events plural. There's a lot of avoidance behavior too, right? Avoiding smells, sounds, areas, or things that look like anything associated with the traumatic event. There's unfortunately, it gets locked in pretty quick, and it's not easy to get PTSD back at bay and not bothering the person to a significant degree. But I do have quite a few. My oldest clients have fought in Vietnam, and in talking to them, you get a much better understanding of PTSD, talking to people who have experienced it. And then I've had some men and women who have fought in the more recent wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. And it is no joke, man. PTSD can be really, really miserable. It's treatable, but it can be pretty tough. But you definitely see, and that's why you're talking about the depth in this episode. I'm thankful that they're showing this, and I hope on some level, persons who are older, younger, I don't, whatever decade of life they're in, can see, in maybe a palatable way, via Star Wars, that war is no joke. If you lose a limb, if you're captured, a prisoner of war, all of that is so difficult psychologically on people. You hope that people can avoid those kinds of things, but unfortunately, as humans, we can be traumatized pretty easily. But I'm glad they show this, and I hope we see a good outcome for Echo here in this next episode. I'm getting a little nervous now, as we've talked about it. The still photography that you sent me, he still looks like he's just got that glazed over blank look. So maybe in talking about all this, we'll, I don't know that we have to encourage people anymore to watch these next episodes. They're already going to be dialed in, but now I'm even more dialed in to see what's going to happen with one of my favorite clones.
Oh yeah, I mean, I like what you said. Everything well said, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because you're right. The picture, the still I sent you, he is very glazed over, and I had some thoughts going through my head as to what happens to him. And I mean, we have the Bad Batch here, which are a group of unique clones. They all have issues that are useful. They have useful defects, I believe, is how they called it in the original episode, the Bad Batch episode 1. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Echo, because yes, he was a vital member of the 501st, and a great friend with Rex, but nothing is going to be the same. He's one arm is mechanical now. His legs are mechanical. When he gets back with the group, is he going to fit right back in with the rest of the clones? Or is he going to relate more to the Bad Batch? Which begs the question, which we'll have to wait and see. Does he stay with Rex in the 501st, or does he follow and join Hunter in the Bad Batch? Who is he going to be more comfortable with? Who is going to be more accepting of who he is now?
Well, in the photo you sent, I'm looking at it right now. It's got the Bad Batch, it's got Echo up front, and it's got Rex there. But he's got the on his armor that skull that is on all the other Bad Batch's armor.
Hmm.
So I wonder if they brought him in as a member.
I don't know, but he also has, and this is why I'm saying this. If you look at the armor too in that picture, he's got that blue, and the helmet he's holding. You see the blue from the 501st.
Yes, I do. Look at you.
So it doesn't answer any questions. It provides more questions. It leaves you with basically we're still at square one. What happens? So I mean,
Yeah,
looking at it, I can almost see him staying in the fight,
yeah,
but being more along the lines of going 50 instead of going back to the 501st, going with Clone Force 99, going with the Bad Batch, because he has his skills are boy ain't boy's never going to be what he used to be,
no,
no
but he has
matter
modifications, right? He's got
exactly.
that arm that can access different ports and stuff like a droid can. So yeah, it would really make sense for him to join the Bad Batch with uh, desirable uh, modifications. So
Exactly.
yeah,
So I don't know. It's just something I had been thinking of because you know, you go through something like that, it changes you, and usually what used to be normal is no longer normal. So you change what happens, whether it's your job, whether it's where you live, stuff changes. So I could see him making those kinds of changes at this point because he's going to have a lot to work through.
mhm.
And I don't know, it'll be, I would like to see what happens and how he works through it and hope for the best. But these are the clones. So it wouldn't be the first time that we've seen the worst happen with the clones. And that's what worries me.
Oh yeah, no, this well, we know where all these are heading. Like we said, Revenge of the Sith. So
Hmm.
um, we're heading towards episode 3, and it gets bad fast.
It truly does. So we'll see. We'll see. So let's lighten the mood. We got deep, serious, worrisome for a while with Echo, but let's look at some of the brighter aspects of it. Um, it was a very action filled episode. It was a lot of fun. Um, there was a lot of comedic elements into it because, like I said, there was a lot of this underlying deepness that was in the episode was there, but they tried this. There was a lot of comedy to soften it, whether it was um, Wrecker throwing people up in the air into a escape vent, or personally my favorite, Anakin lifting Wrecker through the Force
Mhm.
as the as the decimator droid is coming in trying to kill everybody. And
Right, right.
it there's stuff like that through the episode that kind of just made lighten the mood of the all the comedic elements that kind of made you laugh. What was your favorite one?
Well, I was wondering about one that you and I haven't talked about yet, and I just was thinking about it because I had the episode on Disney Plus here tonight before we started recording. Um, is when Anakin and the Bad Batch and Echo jump off of that bridge. They land on the Keeradaks, and at one point you see Tech say they fly now, meaning the battle droids. They're not the B-1s. Um, and I definitely thought about the rise of Skywalker when they're talking about they're out on Pisana, and C-3PO, Finn, and Poe all say they fly now, and